Hey everyone, and welcome back to Project Pro's YouTube channel. My name is Vivian and I'm a data scientist living and working in Sydney. Today I'll be sharing with you my tips on how to become a data scientist in 2023, as well as my personal experience of transitioning into this field. So for some context, my background is in mathematics and statistics, and I started off my career working at one of Australia's largest banks, doing analytics within the fraud team. So I quickly realized that this wasn't what I wanted to niche my career into, and via some networking, I managed to transition into a risk modeling job within the credit risk modeling team. I worked in that role for a couple of years until 2019, and I decided to transition into my first ever data science role into a fintech, where I was doing similar risk models, and I have been in the data science industry ever since then. So by definition, data scientists work with big data to uncover insights and identify opportunities to better inform businesses in making their decisions. So this job family has been trending ever since Harvard labeled it as the sexiest job of the 21st century, and honestly, I don't see it slowing down anytime soon as we move more and more into a data-driven world. So yes, AI advancements like OpenAI, ChatGPT, GPT-4 will have a significant impact on the work that we do, but I don't believe that our job title will become extinct. So there are a couple of ways to become a data scientist. The first one is a more traditional approach, so via an undergraduate or postgraduate degree. So this is personally the approach that I took, as I have a maths and stats background. So when I was still at uni, there were no such things as data science degrees. That is more of a new term. But I also learned the basics of probability theory, distributions, as well as predictive modeling. So your next approach could be to transition laterally within a company. So let's say you join a company as a business analyst or as a product analyst, and you eventually transition into its data science team. And lastly, you have your approach, which is your more self-taught approach via online courses or doing boot camps. So in today's video, I want to cover 5 simple steps that I think will help you become a data scientist in 2023. So the first thing that I would focus on is learning maths and stats. This is something that I already had coming from my undergraduate degree, and I can tell you that I honestly hated the entire theory aspect of it, like proving convergence theorems, all that stuff I did not like. I was much more a fan of the predictive modeling and extracting insights from data. You don't need to have a very thorough understanding of everything, just the basics is fine. So just Google like data science, machine learning, technical questions and answers, and it should give you a general idea of what you need to know. So off the top of my head, for statistics, I would be focusing on high-level correlations, hypotheses testing, A/B testing, probability distributions, as these are things that you might be asked during your interviews. I would also learn the basics of machine learning, so that's your unsupervised versus supervised, classification versus regression models, as well as different machine learning algorithms, whether that's random forest or logistic regressions. So for maths, I would focus on linear algebra and calculus, and cover off things like matrix multiplication as well as gradient descent. But don't bother learning all of this, you just need the most basic understanding. It's just something good to know in case you get asked in your interviews, and a lot of your machine learning algorithms use these techniques in the back end. So the second thing that I would learn is SQL. Coming from a stats background, I was not taught any SQL in my uni degree because all of our data manipulation and modeling was done in R. And when I started my first job back in 2016, and I remember clearly on my first day, my manager just sat me down and told me to spend the entire afternoon using free resources to learn SQL. SQL is super important for manipulating my data. So as a data scientist myself, I would say that I spend up to 50% of my time using SQL, whether that's gathering insights or building a data set to train my predictive models on. So next, I would learn one of R or Python. My preference for you would be Python. I came from a stats background where I was taught R primarily, exclusively during uni, so I was not exposed to any Python, unfortunately, and I had to learn it all on the job. I would just focus on some key packages like NumPy, Pandas, scikit-learn, as well as Seaborn for visualizations. Most of the time at work, I would build my modeling data set within SQL, and once it's finalized, I would then import it into Python, where I would train and deploy my predictive models. And regarding things like visualizations and version control like GitHub, Don't worry too much about this, as many companies out there use different things, as it really depends on the industry and also the budget they've allocated for data. And now that you've learned your skills, it's time to put together your portfolio for your resume. Now, this is probably different depending on which stage of your career you are at, but no matter where you are at, it all comes down to one thing, and that's business impact. Because the more data science experience and impact that you can show, the more likely you are going to get an interview and also then land your job. So don't worry if you are a first-time job applicant out there thinking, how am I going to get any experience? Feel free to use sites like Project Pro, which is a project-based platform that has tons of end-to-end data science projects that are all built to solve real-world business problems. And this is a really, really good chance for you to get your hands on some real-world business problems and see how they solve it for you to talk about in your interviews. And lastly, now that you have your skills ready and your portfolio ready, it's time to go get that job. So make sure you are researching the role. Data science is an extremely ambiguous field, and the same job title can mean completely different things between two different companies. And because of this ambiguity, a lot of employers are chucking in all your trendy buzzwords into your job descriptions to try to attract the best talent. And many businesses are also hiring for data scientists without having the proper quality data foundations ready, or even really knowing how to utilize a data science team. So before you apply for any role, make sure you are reading the job description very, very carefully, asking the hiring manager what your specific deliverables will be for the role, as well as how mature the company is from a data standpoint. So not only will this better help you prepare for interviews, it'll also help you realize if this role is the right fit for you and if it is something that you see yourself wanting to pursue. So to summarize, I would learn maths and stats first, SQL, and then R or Python, put together my portfolio and resume, and lastly, research all the roles that I'm going to apply for. That is all that I have for you today. I hope that this video has helped you out in one way or another. In the meantime, don't forget to check out Project Pro, as it is an amazing platform for end-to-end data science projects, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!